Hello and welcome to Let's Talk About It. This is your host, Taylor, and I hope you all are finding some peace in your week. I hope you all are finding space for joy and for rest and for nourishment. There's been so much happening in our world, and I don't know about you, but I have needed a little bit of space. I've needed a little bit of a break from it all, and something I want to just kind of remind people of, people that listen to this podcast, people that are advocates for social justice and racial justice and climate justice and all of the things, all of those things are related, is just that like rest is crucial to all of these movements. Rest and nourishment of yourself is essential for change. So don't forget to take care of yourself. Don't forget to prioritize your health, your well-being, your nourishment, your pleasure. It's crucial. So there's just a lot, and I hope that you all are doing the best that you can to take care of yourself. I know I am trying to spend time with family, got my seedlings going. It's springtime. So excited to see the plants start to grow. So whatever you can do that makes you feel connected, that makes you feel grounded, that makes you feel safe, that makes you feel bounded, please prioritize that at some point this week, at some point every day if you can. Today's guest, I'm really excited to share with y'all. He is, I want to say, just quite a hoot. And you might recognize him from the TLC show, I Am Jazz, known for being the brother of his very inspiring sister, Jazz Jennings. And although he is a very, very supportive family member, there are a lot of other aspects to his life. And I've followed him on Instagram for a while now. Kept up with his advocacy work and really learned a lot from him. And he honestly just has such positive energy to him. So today's episode is a little bit on the lighter end. Really excited to share him with you all. So make sure that you follow him and check out some of the work that he's doing and the resources that he's providing. He is a huge ally for the LGBTQ plus community. So I'll let him explain a little bit more about himself. But again, I just want to really encourage you all to prioritize your self-care, your self-nourishment. I don't even want to like saying self-care anymore because I don't want you to just care for yourself. I want you to nourish yourself. So make sure to find space, make space to nourish yourself, make time to nourish and prioritize yourself. And let's talk about it. All right. So welcome, Sander, to the show. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to chat with you.
I'm very happy to be here and just excited to chat with you as well.
Yeah. You just have it's 9 a.m. So I'm starting my morning off with you. And even before I got on, I was just thinking this is, I feel like, going to be a good way to start my day. I feel like he's going to have some great energy, your whole presence on social media. I'm just always he's such a great person.
Yeah, I try to be just a good guy and draw the boundary between just spreading that unconditional love and positivity to everyone and anyone. Obviously, I'm human. I struggle as well. Mm-hmm. I have my different things. But even through my struggles, I know every single day I try to do at least one thing to get better. And so I'm always having that good day. And people are like, how do you always have a smile on your face? And I'm like, well, because at least I did one thing to get better today. And I take one step forward each and every day, even when I'm struggling.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited that you're here. I'm so excited we're going to chat. Before we get into this, I want to talk about your location right now because you are in your room. And before we started recording, I had noticed you had mountains on your wall. And we started talking about it briefly. And I was like, oh my gosh, we have to stop because we need to record this because it sounded just so beautiful. And I feel like it almost gives a little bit of insight into how you live your life. So could you share a little bit about the art and the painting on your bedroom walls?
Yeah, so once COVID hit, I was living in Gainesville, my college town, doing my master's degree. And I was like, you know what? It's time to start adulting. And so I moved back home with my family, but I was back in my room that I had always been living in and sharing with my twin brother. I have a twin brother named Griffin, who's now in law school at UF, so stayed up there. So I was like, if I'm going to be able to do this for a year, I don't plan on living here for too long, but just for like this COVID times where it doesn't make sense, I want to stay away from the distractions and the partying, I need to make it right. So I decided I was going to paint my room. I headed out to the store, did not know what I was doing, and the inspiration just started to come. And from there, I know some of my favorite colors are different variations of blues, and I saw a picture of mountains. And so I decided I was going to start with painting some mountains, maybe somehow include the ocean. It turned into just mountains, but it turned into night and day. And so one of the quotes I live by is, my life is a roller coaster, and I hate roller coasters. I actually do not like roller coasters. I've tried, and I've gotten on a few recently, so I'm proud of myself. But my life is a roller coaster, and I hate roller coasters. But I love my life. And so my room kind of displays that in the mountain peaks, where it's like, not just mountain peaks, but for me, it's the up and down, and it's like a roller coaster of life. But at the top and in the middle of the back and the front wall is a sunset and a mountain peak. And on the back is the like darkness to end my day. So I look at life as one constant evolving peak where, yes, you're going to have your dips, but as long as you're taking steps forward each and every day, you're always peaking, even if it's not that very moment in time, because life is one big moment. So it goes around in a circle, the mountain peaks from the sunrise to sunset, and it pumps me up every single morning and helps me stay positive.
I mean, can I come move in?
Yeah, I mean, I'll ask my parents. I don't know how they'll feel about it.
Do you guys just want to add another child to the family? No, it looks beautiful. And so you painted all of that yourself?
Well, I had a friend help me with it, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, she was the best. She was a great artist, and she made me feel like an artist because she taught me how to do stuff. But I'm also, when I was in my fraternity, I was like the guy who painted a little bit, but I helped the best friend who was a good painter, but I'm a very good helper. So sometimes I take the back seat. You can't always be the leader. Sometimes you just need to be a helper. So I'm a good painter when it comes to helping, but I can't like do it. Once I get taught how to do it, I could do it. So that's kind of how it came together. And I'm really happy about how it came out. I'm proud of it. I finally started putting up some like things like says everything is going to be okay. My friend Kinsey, who has she was born with many health problems, and today she's a fighter. She's overexceeded her life expectancy, just turned 17. So her painting's up here. I have pictures where I graduated from college. A big quote my mom sent me in college. So I've added some different things onto the walls. It just helps me feel comfortable, because I think a very important part of life is making sure you're comfortable in your own space. And so I don't spend too much time in this room, but now that I have a desk, I'm going to start.
Yeah. Well, no, I definitely resonate with that. I think making sure that the home that you live in, making sure the room that you spend time in feels like it's in a way a reflection of you, that it's a reflection of, the things you love, the people you love, to help you feel grounded, to help you feel safe, so that when you are experiencing that roller coaster of life, you feel like you have somewhat of a safe space to kind of recoup yourself in. So everything you said there totally resonated for me. I don't like roller coasters either, but that is literally what life is. And so you do have to make the best of it and try to make sure that, like you said, you are taking steps forward as best you can.
Yeah, so we're going to have to both overcome our fear and all that stuff, and we're going to go on a roller coaster together. We'll make sure to bring a tripod, and everyone stay tuned. It's going to be a viral video. You'll probably see it on your feed without looking for it, because we will both be pissing our pants.
Yeah, I might throw up on you.
Okay. I'll take it. It'll be great for the video. It might make me forget how scared I am as well.
Yeah. You're like, we're doing it for the content. It's okay.
I mean, that's also another thing about content is like, sometimes obviously you have to do it for the content. But for me, I mostly do it as like authentic, and like people are just like, why'd you do that? And I'm like today I made a video about being shirtless. I thought I was really proud. I looked really good. So I was like, I'm going to talk about why I'm shirtless right now. And people are going to give me shade for it, but I'm explaining to you, it's me being my most authentic self.
Yeah.
So, but roller coaster thing might be for the content.
Yes. All right. I want to take a quick break right here, because I want to prioritize some pleasure for us all. There's a lot of stuff going on. Sometimes we just want to experience a little bit of pleasure. And so I want to talk about sex toys for a second. And for those of y'all that have listened to the show before or followed me on Instagram, you know that one of my favorite companies is Bellesa Boutique. They are the #1 rated sex toy store on Google at bboutique.co. They have over 25,000 reviews, and they've quickly become one of the leading online sex toy retailers in North America. And if you don't know this, fun fact, Cardi B loves Bellesa vibrators. She's posted with them. It really makes my heart very warm. But the #1 thing that people ask about at Bellesa Boutique, and anytime I talk about sex toys and you all purchasing them, we're always asked questions about discretion. And I'm really excited to share with y'all that Bellesa has the Discreet series, which has literally taken Instagram by storm. And these vibes, they come in really cute little clamshell charging cases. It literally looks like a compact makeup case. And you can charge it just right from the outside. The toy fits right on the inside. So it just no one would know that there's even a vibrator in there. But it's waterproof. It's made from premium body safe materials. I personally own them. You've seen them on my Instagram when I posted them. And I can confirm 10 out of 10. They're so good. And I'm really excited because who doesn't love a little bit of a discount for sex toys? So you all can get 15% off all sex toys at B Boutique and free US shipping with the code Taylor15. That's BBOUTIQUE.co. and get 15% off and free US shipping with the code Taylor15. Spread the word, share it with your friends. Let's spread some positive, discreet vibes. And honestly, owning the same vibrator as Cardi B is quite a flex. So get on it. I hope y'all take advantage of that discount for Taylor15. Again, 15% off all sex toys and you get free US shipping. So be sure to check that one out, and absolutely love Bellesa so much and love this series. So be sure to check them out, and we can now get back to the show. So I feel like you kind of got a bit of and maybe my timeline is off here because time just feels very off. For me, I'm really not good with numbers, but you, I feel like, got introduced into the content, social media, quote unquote haters, before the world of influencers really existed. You first had appeared, at least from my knowledge, on the TLC show, I Am Jazz. And that was, I think I was in high school.
How old are you? I don't know. I didn't ask. I know it's not good to ask a lady your age, but...
I'm 26. 27. Wow, I'm 27. I'm about to be 28.
Then you must have... I think you might have been right in the beginning of your college, like freshman or sophomore year.
Yeah?
It started airing in 2015, but my family was on specials on different reality networks way before that. But I personally didn't... I had 3,000 followers in 2015.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so...
But you still were part of reality TV in some way.
Yeah, I mean, so before it wasn't reality TV, we were on the Oprah Winfrey Network for a special, and then we were on Barbara Walters twice. But those were small segments. We had one 1-hour Oprah Winfrey Network special. Mm-hmm. That was in early 2010s, I think.
Okay.
2015 was when the family really started getting well known and really was starting to create the change, because I don't think of it as getting famous or well known. I think about it as creating change. Mm-hmm. That's our intention.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. So then, I mean, my timeline is definitely off, as I said, because 2015, I would have been starting graduate school, starting my master's. But yeah, I mean, I imagine that would have been one hell of a roller coaster.
Being on the TV show?
Yeah.
I would say it's still a roller coaster that continues to this day. I mean, obviously putting yourself out there and being on reality TV, especially about a topic that so many people, it's not even that they don't understand. It's more that they don't want to understand.
Yeah. They just don't want to exist, period.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I got introduced to the social media world, but I really did not recognize the power of influence and social media until 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. I had 55,000 followers on Instagram, but I was thinking of my social media as I call it a Y to F, you to friends. And now I think of it as you to everyone type of thing.
Yeah.
And when I made that change and I recognized my influence and how my story could help a lot of people, on top of also amplifying my sisters and my friends, especially people in the LGBTQ plus community journey, I recognized their work that came before me. And I recognize now that I had work to do as well as someone who could be an advocate for the community. So that's when I really started using my social media to really create change. And I felt empowered. I found myself.
Yeah. You found yourself.
Yeah.
Can you
Takes
tell
time.
us about that?
Yeah. I mean, so I learned about the power of influence at an influencer conference in 2019. Like I said before that, I had 55,000 Instagram followers. I know because I took a screenshot before I went to that thing because I was showing people and I was asking them for advice. I was like, I feel like I have this story to tell, but I don't know how to share it. I know I'm on TV show and I'm doing a great thing for the world being on the show, but what can I do using the power of social media offline? And so I learned what the power of influence was. I got back and I decided I wasn't going to care about the judgment, hate. I always wanted to lie under the radar in college. I just wanted to be a normal college student. Didn't want to be that kid on a TV show because then girls would hit me up and they wouldn't be hitting me up because they actually like me. And
we're going to get to that.
Oh yeah, it was tough. But I started figuring it out and I started really finding my voice. And I recognized, and this is kind of a statistic I throw out there that really kind of propels me forward, is 5.6% of the population identifies as LGBTQ+. So 94.4% identifies as cisgender, heterosexual people. Because of that, it's so important that cisgender and heterosexual people are allies in supporting the LGBTQ plus community. So on one end, I recognize my voice and that for every LGBTQ plus person, there's likely an LGBTQ plus sibling and many not an LGBTQ plus sibling, a sibling, and many friends who need to be there for them. And so I felt like there weren't too many role models who were constantly being an active ally 365 days a year. And so that's what I started doing on my social media. On top of just starting to showcase who I was, making workout videos, being proud to be me, motivating people, talking about mental health, talking about the TV show more, and just being me instead of just trying to do things that would other people cared about. And I got hate. We all get hate. Yeah. I got hate before that, and that's what deterred me. But once I realized those people are coming from a place of hate and I'm coming from a place of love, and I know who I am and I'm going to showcase it, that's where I've been able to kind of blossom and help a lot of people and also just grow as a person and with followers, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. One of the things that kind of comes to mind for me here, thinking about that statistic, like that's a huge difference. And I want to bet that it's more than 5.6%, but there is so much stigma attached to it that many more people are, kind of staying in that place of maybe confusion or shame and therefore identifying with that 94%. And it makes me wonder, for you, as you come into your own, as you are finding yourself and finding your voice and being an ally for the LGBTQ plus community, what exploring your sexuality has been. I think many of us fall in this, our culture is very heteronormative. So it's just assumed that, we are heterosexual, cisgender beings from boom, jump. And we don't typically get the opportunity or the space to actually figure out how we identify, how we actually feel in our gender and in our sexuality. So I'm wondering what that process has been like for you.
Yeah, it has been quite a process, to be honest. So in college, people, because I am always talking about the LGBTQ plus community, I've been hit on by many men. And for a really long time, it made me feel really uncomfortable because I was always just so comfortable with my sexuality, but it started making me feel uncomfortable with my sexuality because I was always being constantly hit on in my DMs and in the comments. And a lot of people were hitting on me. A lot of men were hitting on me. And I felt uncomfortable at first. And there was actually the defining moment in my life where when I tell this story, people are like, you did that? Like, how could you do that? Like, that's powerful. And for me, that was the moment I really realized how comfortable I was with my sexuality and no longer was really scared about people asking me about my sexuality. I was just comfortable telling people about my sexuality and being comfortable with who I was. And that moment was when I was actually with a friend and I went to Aspen Gay Ski Week with her just to support her. She was performing. And one night we went in a hot tub and there was 9 gay men in the hot tub. And I sat in there and I started talking to these guys and I was just friendly with them. I got along with them. And it wasn't until later that night when I realized I sat in the hot tub with a lot of gay men. And then yes, they might've been hitting on me. They might've thought I was gay, but I did that. I felt comfortable and it wasn't something I thought about when I did it. I just did it. And then I was like, okay, I can live my life always feeling comfortable, even if people do hit on me or I am placed in these uncomfortable situations or I am asked these questions. I can't be scared of it anymore. I need to go full throttle, be that best ally I could be. And if I get asked and questioned about my sexuality, I mean, first of all, I encourage everyone, so everyone listening, don't ask someone their sexuality. It's an ally tip. Don't ask someone in the LGBTQ plus community, but also don't ask someone who you think might identify with the community because let someone create that brave space, create that safe space. So this is ally tip number 1. Create that brave space, safe space. Brave space goes beyond a safe space, includes advocacy as well. So it's a safe space with advocacy. And then let that person come to you and tell you what their sexuality is. So that was really a defining moment in finding my comfortableness with being like this huge ally and always being asked these questions without really being deterred from it. Whereas in the past, I was not the best ally. And I think my allyship has evolved because I'm no longer scared for people to question who I am because I know who I am. So
yeah. And I imagine too that you also maybe would have experienced like a sense of pressure of like, you have to be an ally or people just assuming that, this is going to be the work that you do. And I'm wondering if there are spaces outside of the LGBTQI plus community that, you feel really passionate about that maybe other people don't know about you, or that maybe you were feeling called to do advocacy work in that area instead.
Yeah. So one big distinction that I like to say when people ask me questions like this is, it's your choice to be an ally. I didn't have to be an ally to my sister. And so many siblings of LGBTQ plus people are not allies to their siblings and are not supportive. And so many parents as well. But you know what's not a choice? Identifying as transgender, being gay. That's not a choice. But being an ally is a choice. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't, like I said, I wasn't always the best ally. I wasn't always active on social media. It wasn't until I realized how much change and how I wanted to be that role model to people that I started being this huge advocate for the LGBTQ plus community. But I also have other things I strongly promote. For example, last week I raised money where I was talking about the poster in my room from my friend Kinsey. I raised money for an organization called Dance Marathon, where it's children born with incurable diseases. And why that organization really matters to me, number one, before I was born, my parents were told by the doctors there's an 80% chance they'd lose one or both babies. And me and my twin brother are healthy twin boys. We both survived. So I'm super passionate about raising money for kids born with incurable diseases, miracle children. So that's one of my passions. Mental health is another one of my huge passions that I haven't dove into my feet into too much, but I have definitely done some advocacy work for, and I hope to continue doing more advocacy work for. And then obviously the Black Lives Matter movement, I've tried to get involved as much as I can. I post about it when I can. I actually spoke at an event in my neighborhood. They invited me to come speak at it. And I think one thing that is the hardest about like entering a community, like into supporting stuff like that is one, cancel culture, and two, people just being like, you're creating space, but then you shouldn't be creating space because you don't identify. So I actually posted my speech and they're like, you should have allowed someone who identifies as African-American to speak. And I'm like, I was invited to speak, guys. Like obviously I want to create that space. I would much prefer them to speak, but if they felt like it was important for someone to relate to a white heterosexual cisgender man like myself, I wasn't going to turn down the opportunity. And I feel like I might have been able to help create change. And I think that's one important distinction when anyone's trying to get involved in any other movement that maybe they can't identify in, but they could identify with. It's that there's people who also want to be creating that change, who could identify with you. And you could be a role model for them, but you also need to make sure to leave that space open for the people who I identify with in that community. So that's why on my page, it's not just me creating videos being like, be an ally. It's also like, here's my friend who identifies as transgender. I'm cisgender. There's a video like that. So I hold the space, but I also make sure that I create a space where I'm a role model to people who could identify with me, because people listen to the people they can identify with most. So that's an important distinction.
Absolutely. Yeah. And while you hold the space for folks within that community to, take up the space, there also might be other spaces where they don't have the permission to take up space, or it's not safe for them to take up the space. And I think that's where allies come in to either help create it to be a space where they can, or they use their privilege and their allyship to advocate to help make it a safer space. And like you said, people are more likely to listen to folks who they're more in alignment with. And that's the really hard part. I remember even a big example of this is sharing Robin DiAngelo's work in regards to, Black Lives Matter or racial justice, and people feeling really upset that, well, you're sharing a white woman's work when you could be sharing a Black woman's work. And yes, absolutely. However, white people are more likely to listen and learn from someone who looks more like them, especially when talking about a subject that's really uncomfortable. So that's an example just that comes to mind for me when you talk about that.
Yeah, it's how it works. And it's definitely difficult, especially as I'm 23. So and my advocacy work kind of began when I was 21. So I'm learning every single day, and I have made mistakes. I make mistakes every day. And obviously cancel culture is scary, but I'm not really scared to be canceled, because I know that if I ever make a mistake, I was coming from a place of love. And so hopefully people could understand and accept that. So I try to advocate on everybody. I want to support all marginalized communities. And obviously some of the things I have to educate myself first before I can really do and put in that work as an advocate. And so each and every day, that's what I'm trying to do. I read other people's things and put in the work. And then when you feel comfortable, I read a lot of books on allyship and advocacy before I really started speaking on it more. And now I do it, and I speak on it as much as I can. Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit about, just because I'm hearing you bring it up again here, this fear or anxiety of cancel culture within allyship work, within advocacy work? I don't think you're alone in that. And I think that is part of what makes people feel scared to speak up on anything, especially knowing that even if your intention is really great and it is coming from love, that sometimes those things do still cause harm, and having that fear of being canceled or being silenced in a way, being told you can't be an advocate or an ally because you said something wrong. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I'll give you an example. So I was in a Clubhouse room. I know I've seen you on Clubhouse before.
You have?
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you.
I haven't been on in a long time.
I saw you a few weeks ago. I was actually going to ask you. I was thinking about starting an empowerment room, and I feel like you'd be a great person to host it with. So if you're interested, we'll talk about it. But so in a Clubhouse room, I started talking about allyship and what I do as an ally. And people after that, they didn't know who I was at the time, because it doesn't they didn't look at my page. And then people were like, well, you can't call yourself an ally. You need receipts to back it up. If you're going to be an ally, you better be doing the work all the time. And I'm like, well, and then people who didn't know me were like, guys, go check out Sander's page. He's got a lot of receipts. And it was just people are quick to first make the assumptions against you. And most people, honestly, anyone listening, you might consider yourself an ally, but like I just said, you should have receipts to back it up, more than one. You need to have multiple receipts if you really want to consider yourself an ally. You can consider yourself a friend, but if you really want to be an ally, it's active. It's 365 days a year. And it's you, even if maybe it's not all about posting, but actually educating yourself. But in terms of just cancel culture, yeah, it's just people are quick to say you don't identify with us. So why are you posting about us? Why are you sharing about us? You're trying to take the limelight. You're trying to jump on this issue and gain followers from it. People tell me to this day, oh, you just want to grow fame off your sister. No, right now, my sister's just not as active on social media. And I talk to her and we work on things, and she helps me come up with ideas for my videos. But then I can, with the people that can resonate with me, will listen to me. And so, no, I'm not trying to grow fame off my sister. I'm simply just trying to help the world. I don't want to be famous. I just want to help people. And a lot of people just don't recognize that. And a lot of people just don't understand. So, and you shouldn't have to explain yourself. And that's the hard part. Know you're going to do something and you're going to get some hate, and it's tough sometimes. Because some of the things they say, even if they're wrong, come from some validity if they didn't know everything about you. And so it's tough always having to explain yourself, and you don't always want to explain yourself. And that's why sometimes I don't speak on all issues as much as I wish I would. And I'm obviously trying to, going forward, as much as I can. I've done a couple videos on the anti-transgender bills, and people are just like, why do you keep posting about the anti-transgender bills? I'm like, because I had to watch my sister get banned from sports. I saw my sister and how it affected her health care. This is important. And they're like, well, Jazz isn't posting as much as you. I'm like, well, Jazz isn't as active on social media.
Yeah, and also like let her live. Like maybe she doesn't want to sit here and explain and have to advocate for her life. Like maybe it's nice to know that other people are helping do that work so that she can just live her damn life.
Exactly. So cancel culture and all that stuff is definitely something that has crossed my mind when I'm trying to talk on really, really sensitive topics. But I've definitely drawn the line. I've created my own boundaries, and I've definitely crossed over some boundaries. And sometimes you got to do that.
Yeah. What does that look like? How do you establish boundaries in your advocacy work? I struggle with that. Yeah,
actually, boundaries is a term I actually learned recently, and I realized like, okay, where do I set my boundaries? For example, when people ask me to post GoFundMes, I can't post GoFundMes for everyone. There's very few that I get involved with. It's a very, very close friend. It's like my friend is paralyzed right now. Of course, I'm going to try to help him raise money. Like he fell off a boat. Like one of my good friends, I got to help him. My friend, I was raising money for Dance Marathon. She's been my friend for a long time. But then I have people like who are acquaintances, where I've known, who are asking me, or people who are my followers. And yes, their causes are important, but you got to create the boundary. So sometimes the other boundaries are on certain issues. Sometimes I can't make a full feed post about it, or I'll just full copy someone else's feed post and repost that. Or I reshared your story, I think 2 days ago, because I really liked what was there. And today I reshared a different story from someone else. And maybe I haven't made a feed post, but I don't want to if I create a feed post and create my own caption, I'm not as educated enough to really speak on it. So I try to do what I can when I can. But sometimes it just, and also sometimes I just need to relax. Like I can't be full-blown advocate, 24 hours. I could be at 365 days a year, but I can't be at 24/7, 365 days a year, because I have to figure out how I'm going to make money, how I'm going to go live, move out of my parents' house, how I'm going to find a girlfriend, all these different things in my life. So I can't be always just 24/7 advocacy. And some people expect you to be that way. And it's tough.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there is a lot of pressure for that. And there's this meme, I totally forget exactly how it goes, so I'm going to butcher it, but where it's like, oh, post about an apple, and someone comments and it's like, but what about oranges? Do you not care about oranges? And it does feel like there is so much pressure to comment and advocate in every single issue there is. And that's a lot. There's a lot of issues. We got a lot of shit to, unlearn. We got a lot of things to move forward in our country and in our world. And it sounds like you've kind of got your focus. And even within that focus, you still have to, implement these boundaries and still deal with that pressure of well, how do you feel about these other things though? And I'm not sure how conducive that is to people actually being able to learn and grow and actually show up to do the work, because like you said, you can do it maybe 365 days a year, but 24 hours of those 365, not really. Yes, you're an ally, but you also are your own person.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many other things about me that I do and say than just being an ally and advocate. But obviously that's one of my passions. My number one thing in life is helping others. I'm confident about it. It's like I'm trying to create 4 pillars. I know helping others is one of them. And I'm still figuring out some of the other ones. I have a good grasp on some of the other ones, and I'm figuring it out day by day.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you mentioned, getting a girlfriend and being a sex therapist and just loving relationships and dating. I always want to ask people about this. And you did, there was a story I saw of yours where someone had asked, if you were dating right now, and you were kind of saying, you were moving home and you wanted to kind of get yourself in order first. And just kind of hearing at the beginning of our chat here today of, people kind of wanting to date you or reaching out to you because you were on the show, or, how that would maybe make them feel about being close to you. Can you talk about what dating has been like for you as you've grown up? I mean, you're late adolescence to early 20s now.
Yeah, dating has been quite interesting. When I got to college, I did not want to really pursue a relationship. I just wanted to have fun. high school, I had a relationship. And so I started having fun. I met a lot of people. I was more carefree. I was focused on school. I was focused on meeting every single person I could meet. And if I met a cute girl, like I met a cute girl, things could happen. We hung out, kind of like the college vibe. In college, I definitely had a few girls that I was closer with. I never really got committal. I have a little bit of commitment issues. And that's sort of because in college, I didn't really want a girlfriend. And like, sometimes they would just be like, this girl's great. I can't stay away from her. But also like, I'm not ready for a girlfriend. I'm focused on different things. But yeah, I would go out, I'd have fun. I'd meet girls. I would date girls. At one point, I definitely found that I was turning more into not this good guy anymore. And I wasn't proud of some of my actions. So I took a step back. And I started being that better guy again. I've never lied to a girl. I've always been honest with intentions. But even when you're honest with your intentions, sometimes that can hurt people. Yeah. And so when I started feeling like I was hurting people, I knew I was hurting myself as well. And that was kind of in sophomore, junior year of college. And then, I settled down a little bit more, dated a girl or two here and there for more extended periods of time. No like committal relationship thing, but like something where it was like, I like the person a lot. And I just never could really find that person that I could find a emotional, spiritual, and physical connection with, all three. I definitely could pull 2.5, but I never felt like there was that person that could really like be like, okay, I could see myself marrying you one day. And I personally just won't get into that deep committal relationship unless I could see myself marrying that person. And so that hasn't happened to me yet. Then COVID hit. I have been dating a little bit during COVID. Some people I've actually met online, and I'm not really scared of that anymore. But before, I was kind of staying away from people online because I thought maybe their intentions were wrong. And now it's like the world's digital now. Yeah. If I meet someone online and we get along, we hit it off, then I'm open to that. So, I talk to people, I have fun, but now I'm more in like, okay, I need to really hone down and figure out who my person is, but I'm not really out there searching, looking, but I know that it will find me or I will find them, or maybe they already exist and they're right under my nose. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you said that you don't want to get committed unless that's someone like, or not committed, but that you don't really want to go super deep unless you know that this is someone that you can see yourself being committed to and potentially in marriage. So how do you know if that's someone you want to go get married or have that committed to if you don't go deep?
Yeah, that's something that I've really been working on, trying to go deeper in my relationships and in the people and having more intention. It was actually a thought today. I did hot yoga this morning. And in that yoga session, like halfway through, I was just thinking, I need to start having more intention with the things I'm doing, because right now I'm doing so many different things. And yes, I love them all, but some of it's without intention. And so now I need to start doing things with more intention, especially dating. And I have more recently dove deeper and really started to dive deep with a girl or two. And it's been nice and I've enjoyed it. And I feel like it's helped me figure it out. At the same time, there's also some times where I just feel like you can see that person and there's certain things that you don't need to go that deep with. And it's like, I don't think this is going to work long term. And in some situations, I'm like, you know what? I can't just, there's so many good things there. I can't just cut it off right there. So let's see. And on other things, I'm like, okay, I need to be honest and just tell the person, like, listen, I like hanging out with you. And in college, it might have been like, I like hanging out with you. We could continue hanging out, but it's never going to go anywhere type of thing. And then in some situations, like, hey, like it could go somewhere. I don't know. If we want to continue hanging out, we'll see. If one of us get too deep into it and it's not working, we need to be honest with each other. I'm a very honest guy, but I need to be honest with more intention. So that's what I'm working on. I hope that answers your question. Do you have any advice on this? Dating advice 101.
Well, I think it's amazing how, as you say this, you say, with one or two girls. So that's great. No, I think absolutely making sure that you have intention as you're going through your dating experiences. And like you said, you're always going to be honest and transparent. And sometimes that is hurtful. And sometimes that is just your truth. And that's that's the gray space of life, that where we kind of have an opportunity to practice that gray area and holding both things at the same time, even if they feel like they kind of contradict each other. But I mean, I guess my question and something I'm wondering for you, as you are dating and as you are, in a way, it sounds like identifying a little bit of hesitation or resistance and commitment. It's making me really curious about what your experience or perspective or knowledge, thoughts, opinions are around monogamy, and if that's kind of been your main dynamic within your relationships that you have had.
Monogamy as in, I mean, I know the term, but I get confused about that. Monogamy as in more than one partner?
Yeah, monogamy is like you're exclusive with one person, and sometimes that's negotiated. Sometimes, usually it's not. And it's just like, we're monogamous. We are only with each other emotionally, sexually. We are exclusively committed to each other. Whereas like non-monogamy or polyamory or having some kind of open
So monogamy is like marriage, commitment, one person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I thought maybe you were asking the other one, because there's another, I guess it's polyamorous is another term. No, I hope to one day get married. I hope to one day have kids. That is obviously my goal. And I do want monogamy with someone. It's just that I need to find that person, or I need to it just takes me time. Also, like right now, the situation I'm working towards my career. I'm building out my business. I'm doing a lot of different things. I'm still living at home. So it's like, how could I be monogamous with someone at this very current time, and be all in with it when I'm so all into other things? But I know my time will come and that person will come. I have hope, or maybe one day, I don't know. I'll just start going on dating shows and figure it out. But
proceed with caution, my friend.
Oh, I'm sure. But
yeah,
we'll see. I definitely want to be in a monogamous relationship one day. I believe in it. I want to have kids. My actual most recent Instagram post told my parents' love story where they were next door neighbors. They reunited 20 years later, got married a few years later, had 4 kids, monogamous relationship, beautiful, lovely. And then at the end of the caption, I said, I hope to one day have something like this too. And I have confidence in myself. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm not as focused on it as maybe I should be. Maybe I should be more focused on it.
Well, it sounds like you feel like you can't be focused on that while also figuring out your career and getting your degree and doing these things, that it's like, if you're going to be in a relationship, you have to be all in, and that's going to be like everything.
Yeah. I mean, I think if I want to be that, I think I'm a catch, not to be cocky, but I do think one day in that person, I'm going to make them so happy, but I also know they're going to make me super happy as well. I think that I'm a great guy. I think I have a lot of intangibles that a lot of girls look for. And for that reason, I hope that they'll come around. But you look at these other guys, there's a lot of great guys out there that are 30 and single. And so hopefully I'm not that guy, but I never know. Time will tell. I have confidence in myself. Got me stressing a little now over here. But another thing about it, deep breaths. That's what they told me in hot yoga today. Another thing about it is that I think is funny in relation to my brand is I do talk about being single, and I was talking to someone else and a lot of guys don't really do that. And I'm like, well, it's a part of me being my most authentic self. And I'm not saying in those videos, which people always misconstrue, you always talk about being single. Why can't you just be happy? I'm happy. I'm not unhappy. Me talking about being single, why I don't have a girlfriend, and me talking about who wants to be my girl. Sometimes it's very obviously a little bit of engagement. It's kind of poking the bear, having fun. It's a part of who I am. Sometimes it's just sharing some of the problems and why I'm single that people can relate to. I know people can resonate with it.
Yeah.
And it's just me being my most authentic self. But people like to think, oh, Sander, you're just so thirsty. And I'm like, yeah, right now maybe I'm thirsty. I've been speaking a lot.
Yeah. And you're in Florida. It's hot.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing on the video that I created with the shirtless thing where I was like, it's hot. It's in Florida. Why am I going to wear a shirt? But yeah, that's me being intentional with my single content. It's not me being oh, I need to find a girlfriend. We'll see. Hopefully I will.
Yeah. You feel like you have to defend yourself a lot, when you are posting things and when you are being your authentic self, that it's you have to put in all these disclaimers, or you feel like you have to kind of like preface it, or like, well, I'm not being this, or like, it's not because of that?
Sometimes, but like usually it gets more like it might bother me a little bit. I'm like, you know what? These people really don't know where they're coming from. And once again, they're coming from a place of hate. Just got to let it go, Sander. You just got to let it go. Sometimes I feel the need to comment back and make sure to kind of defend myself and share a little bit about it and why I do what I do. But I also do think I might move away from some of the single content, not because of any particular reason, just because, like, you know what? I got to spend that time I'm spending doing that. I should be out there going on dates. Also in college, I went on a lot of dates. I would take girls on dates. It wasn't like I was just trying to take them home. I never like would take girls home from bars that are drunk. Like, that wasn't me. I was the type of guy who, like, I don't even go up to girls. I'm kind of shy. So like, it's more like I'll meet them through a friend or through a dating app or through social media or through a club or somehow, some way. Then when I see them out, I was like intentional trying to meet them. Then I'd ask them on a date, that type of stuff. Like, took a lot of girls out on dates back in the day. Now during COVID, not as much, but I enjoyed that way more than just like, hey, like, let's have sex and let's never talk again. That's not my thing.
Yeah. What's like one of your like most memorable dates, or like the most favorite date activity that you've done? Can you think of
honestly, one of my favorite things to do is run stadiums.
Run?
Or like play tennis. Yeah, like something active. I want someone who's like fun and active and able to do that. Other dates that I've been on, like, let's think if there's like a beach day is the best.
Okay.
So like watching the sunrise, going to the beach. Actually went on a date for my birthday. We couldn't we went to the beach, right? Great day. Couldn't open the bottle of wine. So we figured out a way to get it out with like, I don't even know what we used. And it was so cool. And then started drinking, and then a cup went flying down the beach. And I was like, we cannot litter. So I chased it down. And like, it's that stupid notable things, but it was just like, we were having so much fun just being in the present moment, hanging out with each other. And it was just a good day. And so beach days are definitely prime. Beach or something active. Obviously dinners are cool. Movies are not cool, because like, how do you get to know someone at a movie?
Yeah, agreed. But like, also you said running, and you kind of lost me at running, because I was like, hold on, you want to run with a person on a date while you're trying to get to know them?
That might not be the first date. That might not be the first date. All right. Okay. That might not be the first date. And honestly, most of the dates that I've gone on, like playing tennis or running, turned out just being really good friends. We just realized we're just good friends. Like nothing, just there was no physical connection. It was more like, we loved hanging out. We're going to stay friends. And those are the girls that I still am friends with today. And those are so maybe the running and the tennis dates weren't the best idea, but they were the best idea, because those are my friends now. And I mean, you only, like we're talking about monogamy. Hopefully there'll only be one girl, but friends you could have a bunch of them.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm wondering, as kind of leaving us off here, given that you are single and that you are dating and we are in COVID, if there's anything that's really worked for you or felt like really fun, or that you have found like quote unquote success in dating during COVID times.
Success dating during COVID times. I mean,
or like a fun date idea during COVID, or ways of meeting people during COVID.
I feel like because I have like this large social platform, it kind of makes it a little bit more of a unique situation. But like before, I wasn't really answering. I mean, I answered DMs, but it wasn't being like, I'm going to answer, and if they're attractive, I'm going to try to hit on them. But like during COVID, and because I started growing on social media more, I definitely had a lot more girls sliding into my DMs, and I was more or less not as afraid to be like, okay, let me start a conversation with them. Obviously, I'm not going to do anything stupid. I know I have like my morals and values, but answering my messages and actually like giving people a chance online, I feel like a lot of people, and especially like my grandparents, would be like, that's so weird. And it's like, no, that's the way the world's working. So don't be afraid of meeting people on dating apps or social media, but also don't just try to get in. For girls, don't just let a guy get in your pants first date. And for guys, don't just try to get in a girl's pants first date, because that's not how you're going to find your person. Now, if that's what you want, go for it. But if you actually want to see where a relationship could go, try not to do anything like sexual right away. That's a piece of advice.
Okay. And so then you feel like if you do engage in sex very early on, and like the first experience, that makes it more difficult, or it's not as likely for that to turn into something romantic or committed or long-term?
I definitely think it makes it a little bit tougher. I don't think it's impossible, but I mean, for me, I want to connect with someone emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And if you start off with physical, then like sometimes one person might just want only the physical, and that's why they're still going, and that's why they're sticking around. And it's not just emotional too. So I feel like creating an emotional connection first is my advice. But listen, everyone has their own way of dating, so I can't say that's speaking for the masses. That's just my experiences and my opinions. I know I've had times where I've had sex on the first date, and those girls, some of them I did not hang out with many more times. And some of them I thought maybe there could have been potential if I'd got to know them first. And so today, that's why I try to get to know someone first before I do anything. Also, like, I don't really like to make that first move towards something sexual unless like I know that's what the person wants, because I don't want to ever make someone uncomfortable. I'm trying to, obviously, I like to respect boundaries and make sure that that person is also putting in that same level of physical energy. Also, it's so attractive when a girl makes the first move for me. So any girls listening to this, it's attractive when you make the first move.
And where can people find you on Instagram?
People could find me on Instagram at Sander_54. And on TikTok, Sander_Jennings. All my other platforms, Sander_Jennings, including my Snapchat, where that's where I actually answer the most DMs, but it just is a little bit tough because some of them are not things that I asked for.
You are really cracking me up right now.
Good. I'm glad.
Oh my goodness. There's so many other places I want to take this conversation now. But we do have to wrap up. And I'm wondering if there's anything you want to leave people with. I'm kind of thinking like any kind of, you did give a tip earlier about being an ally. But I'm wondering if there is anything else that you want to leave people with other than slide on in that Snapchat.
For sure. I would actually love to talk about what I'm doing today and how it relates to kind of my journey as a person. So right now I'm focused on building out my own empowerment / digital marketing / creative agency called Digi Empower. And it's focused on empowering emerging creators and small businesses to use the power of short form video to create their own digital empires using their story. And I feel like every single person who's listening and every single person out there has a story that a lot of people can relate to. And like I said, I didn't start really finding my self and what I wanted to share until 2019. It's 2021. I'm 23. It took me a long time. So I am building this company out to, one, apply my master's of digital strategy I recently graduated with, and my kind of expertise as being an influencer and my love for helping others into one business to empower a bunch of other people. And so if I leave everyone with one note, it's one, feel empowered. You have a story and you have a thing. And if you want help doing that, also reach out to me for that. Reach out to me for that before you reach out to me about being single. Okay. The Snapchat thing is secondary. This is more primary. Anyone who wants to be a creator or is a small business or anything that's looking for empowerment, hit me up. I want to help you. I'm really excited to launch this. It's obviously, I have a lot of other things I'm doing. So it's like been tough to really stay focused on it and build out this company. And I do already have some clients and it's awesome, but I'm a young guy and sometimes you lose yourself in the sauce, but I'm just glad because I look at life as every day. I don't have to do things. I get to do things. I'm excited to get to do things. It's my privilege. I'm grateful for it. And just trying to change the world. So everyone be a change maker, share your story. And I believe in you guys. And I love you guys all so much.
You're so great. This has been fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on.
For sure. And if anyone does have friends who maybe you think would be good for me, feel free to slide them into my DMs. You know what I'm saying?
I cannot. I'm going to stop. All right, that does it for today's episode. Thank you so much for making it all the way through and keeping your ears, your hearts, and your minds open. It would mean so much to me if you could take a second or two after listening to this episode to leave a review on iTunes and let me know what you're enjoying about the show. I love reading, what your favorite episodes are, where you guys listen, and definitely feel free to share this with a friend. I mean, part of how we break down the stigmas around these topics is by talking about them, right? And sharing them with more people. So definitely share the podcast. And again, really wanting to include all of you in this podcast. So if you have questions or you want to share a thought or an experience, please send in a voice memo to ask.letstalkaboutit@gmail.com. And I'm really excited to keep having these conversations and breaking down these stigmas. So thank you all so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll talk to you next time.